Welcome to another edition of Radio Influencers, a podcast series we're doing for Radio Update. I'm your host, Andy Meadows. Today, we're going to discuss a three-step process to becoming a faster and better version of ourselves. But quickly, let's look at our top Radio Update content and Radio Update poll responses. Some good traffic last week on the site, thanks to everyone who visited. Again this week, Tracy Johnson and John Lund dominated the top 10. Tracy's Personalities You Can and Should Be More Likable article was the most clicked on, followed by John Lund's 12 Ways to Become a Better Personality and Personality Focus articles in the second and third slot, so very personality heavy last week on Radio Update. Some good response for the Weekly Wire poll question as well. Off my syndicated versus local article, we asked, are you currently running more syndicated or local shows? Not a great sign for our industry that the majority of radio decision makers who responded said that they were running more syndicated shows, 53.9%, and just 46.1% said they were running more local shows. Although I was afraid those numbers would skew even higher towards syndicated. Obviously, I would love to see radio get back to creating more local on-air and digital content, but that's going to, of course, require some creativity with how everyone is strapped for cash right now. Now let's get into today's topic. If you have any questions after watching or listening, email me at andy@radiostationconsultant.com or editor@radioupdate.com, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. The more I talk about using AI tools, embracing digital by putting cameras in the studio and outside partnerships, and breaking the "we've always done it this way" curse, the more pushback I get from some people within the radio industry. Recently, in response to my rather benign article about the benefits of stations partnering with local influencers, someone simply emailed me telling me to go to hell, which seems a little extreme. Should I really burn for all eternity for suggesting radio form some outside partnerships with people already getting traction digitally in your local market to help get local digital dollars? I don't think so. Most of the pushback I get is kinder, but still very resistant. Here are three of the main pushback questions I get and how they unlock 3 steps to becoming a faster and better version of ourselves. Number 1, why should I use AI? This comes from people who refuse to use AI because they think it's silly to use something that they believe will ultimately replace them. Like I've said many times, you are not going to lose your job to AI. You will lose it to somebody who uses AI and is proficient at it. AI can supplement where we're lacking. For instance, things that we're not particularly good at but are a part of our job now every day. And it can supercharge the things that we're already good at. For instance, John Reynolds, the guy who hosts our Video Tips and Tricks series and owns his own video production company, has been doing video production for years and years. When he uses an AI video generator, the results are vastly different than when a regular person uses those same tools because it's enhancing something he already has a talent for. Same goes for my wife that's a graphic designer and has an eye for all things visual. When Canva came out, everyone fancied themselves a graphic designer, including myself, because it makes doing reasonably good graphics really easy. But the results my wife gets using Canva or Creatoppy, both of which have AI tools built in now, are way different than the results I get. AI is here to stay, not going anywhere. There's no desire to regulate it because everyone knows that would make the country that regulates it fall behind other countries that don't. So this is our new reality. Not being willing to use AI will mean no longer working in a very short time because that's already occurring in some industries. Conversely, using AI is becoming cheaper and easier by the day, and that's why it's step 1 to becoming a faster and better version of ourselves. The number 2 pushback question I get is, why do I need a consultant or talent coach? Obviously, I get this question because I'm a consultant who also specializes in on-air talent coaching, and usually I get it from someone who's either been in the business longer than I have because they're a little older than me, or someone who thinks they've got it all figured out. There are also people who think they've been in the business longer than me but don't realize I started as a kid, so I've been doing this a long time. Regardless of the situation, my response to that is that everyone needs a coach. Tom Brady, the best quarterback of all time, had a coach. Let's set aside the fact that that said coach is now taking orders from his 24-year-old girlfriend. Michael Jordan, the best basketball player of all time, had a coach. Mickey Mantle had a coach. Everyone can benefit from the unbiased outside professional opinion of an industry expert. Obviously, if you don't think I'm an industry expert, then don't work with me, but work with someone. The right consultant can show you tons of ways to prepare more effectively and efficiently, what tools to use and which ones to stay away from, and tell you things other people are afraid to tell you, but do so in a way that's palatable, that's more encouraging than discouraging. When I'm working with someone, whether it's a GM or owner on something big picture about the business model, a programmer about a different approach, which I'll expand on in a moment, or an on-air talent about improving their on-air performance, eventually most of them have a light bulb moment where they realize that we're all working toward the same goal, them getting better at their craft. Because the better they do, the better it reflects on me, and the more likely they are to refer me to their radio buddies. Radio doesn't happen in a vacuum. We're in constant competition with other people who are constantly improving and evolving. So the day we stop improving, we actually start getting a little worse with each passing day. That's why on-air talent that do their show the exact same way they've done it for 20 plus years are actually doing a worse version of a 20-year-old show. So working with the right consultant or talent coach is the second step to becoming a faster and better version of ourselves. Pushback question number 3. Why should I embrace a data-driven approach? That's a summary of the pushback I get when encouraging radio programmers to adopt a data-driven approach, because most of them don't directly articulate it that way. They usually say something like, a streaming hit isn't the same as a radio hit, which is silly. When we're programming, all we're trying to do is determine what songs are going to connect with listeners. If more people are listening to a song on their own than other new songs, why would we ignore that information? It really blows my mind that you can show some programmers a list of exactly the songs people in their market are listening to in their format right now, and they'll still say, nah, I'd rather just continue looking at Mediabase to see what other stations are playing like I've always done, or I'd rather just listen to all the new songs that come out and use my gut to guess which ones the audience will connect with, because I enjoy doing that. By the way, a data-driven approach doesn't mean completely ignoring your gut. It means pairing your gut instincts with tangible, factual data to remove any of the guesswork and make 100% sure your station is playing the songs it should and not playing the songs it shouldn't. I look at the national data for all formats every week, and I look at my clients and a few others' market-level data every week, and there is a variance in every single format and every single market. Sometimes small, but occasionally pretty large. Using that market level data we look at, and by the way, all the artists and labels look at as well to inform their decisions, gives radio stations an edge because it forces us to change our outdated approach. Radio has ceded new music discovery to social media and digital platforms because we wait around for songs to be released as radio singles instead of playing them the second the data tells us it's connecting and adjusting our categories and databases accordingly. I'm harping on programmers because this is a common frustration of mine, but data-driven approaches applies to on-air talent, sellers, managers, definitely everyone on the digital side, and essentially everyone in the building. So embracing a data-driven approach is the third step to becoming a better and faster version of ourselves. I say this all from personal experience. I use AI tools every day to help with every aspect of what I do. The only reason I'm good at consulting is because I had great mentors and worked with several great consultants on my old company's dime, which I soaked up like a sponge. And although I'm an old school radio programmer who's developed a good gut for knowing what songs will hit and which ones will miss, I've fully adopted a data-driven approach to programming now, because not doing so would be a disservice to my clients and the listeners who tune into their stations. What do you think? What steps have you taken to become a faster and better version of yourself this year? Email me at andy@radiostationconsultant.com or editor@radioupdate.com and let me know. As always, if you have some thoughts on this or any other hot radio topic you'd like to share, submit an article about it by emailing submissions@radioupdate.com. Thanks for listening, watching, and reading. We'll be back next week with a new episode of Radio Influencers. Radio Influencers is a Radio Update production. New episodes are released on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern.